Hello, fellow alchemists. Welcome back to our series on how to deploy Phoenix. Before, I did a very quick video using the latest release candidate about Elixir 1.9. And now today, at least today at the time I'm recording this, Elixir 1.9 has finally been released. And so I finally wanted to show you guys how to deploy an app from start to end with Phoenix. And using the latest version, Elixir 1.9. And I just did it for another app, and while it's still fresh in my head, I wanted to go ahead and record a video on how to do that. And it's actually quite simple, and I'm going to walk you through how to actually upgrade your app, or maybe downgrade if you want to think about it like that, but basically take your working Distillery build and have it work for the native mix release task in Elixir 1.9. So without further ado, let's get started. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, since we're going to be using Elixir 1.9, I'm going to go ahead and remove Distillery. Now, although I removed it from my mix file, I have to also remove it in two different places using this mix command. So one I'm going to do is mixdeps.clean -- unused, which is going to remove all of the files, all of the dependencies that we downloaded. As you can see, I don't have them downloaded, so that's fine. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, as you can see, it's these two dependencies. I'm going to actually remove them from the lock file. And so although I removed it from here, if you look in our lock file, you'll see Distillery and Artificery is here too. So what I can do is I can say mixdeps unlock, which will remove it from the lock file, and state the name of the dependency, Distillery. And I need to also do that for Artificery. Okay, so now if we check our diff, we will see that those are both gone. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do is, because we're going to be dealing with runtime configuration, and I've already done this properly using mix and the config provider, what I can do is I can move this out of the rel directory, and I'm going to move this into the config directory. And the way mix handles this, mix release, is that you have to call it within the config directory releases.exs. Okay, pretty simple. And we don't need the rel directory at this moment. Everything else in there is related to Distillery. So what we can do is we can remove the rel directory. And because that's still left over, I'm going to also remove that. Okay. And now we need to create our own new rel directory, which is going to work for our new release. So we just need to do mix release.init, which creates our files, if you guys remember from last time. And now we have one last thing to do. Now within Elixir 1.9, they decided to deprecate or start to remove mix config. And so what we need to do now is we go to our config file, all these config files, and we just change this to, instead of use mix.config, we change this to import config. For all of these, including the releases. Okay, very important. And now we are ready to build our release. Now we can go ahead, let's go ahead and try to build this with Docker just to prove it all works fine. So let's tag this 1.9. okay 1.9 for right now. And let us build our release. But sorry, one more thing we need to do before I forget. I'm going to use another container that I created. So 2204.190. Okay, and this is 2204. And instead of starting in the foreground, we just change this command to just be start. So the command to start has changed. And everything else should work fine. So let's try to build our container. Now the only thing is, after we built our container, now we just need to run it. And just to show you that it's working fine, we run docker run -p bind to port 4000 from port 1000, pass in the environment file, and I called it 1.9. There we go. Our app is running perfectly. We can go ahead and check it. We go to localhost 4000. You can see our app is running perfectly fine using the release task that we created. Okay, so this is Alan from Plangoro, and please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.